Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. As such, the audience discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the season finale. 37 episodes in 1 year. I think that's pretty good.
Woo!
Yeah.
Woo.
We've beat some kind of record, I think.
We beat the record for most Travelers on the Omnibus episodes recorded in a year with 37.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow,
Which, by the way, welcome everyone to Travelers on the Omnibus, a field trip through nerd and pop culture. My name is James McCarthy.
There's the tagline. I'm Brady Davis.
I'm Jody Kite.
I'm Ethan Skinner.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is our season ender. We're going to be taking a few weeks off after this and coming back in the new year. Hopefully stronger, hopefully better, hopefully faster. $6 million men all around.
Yeah.
Will we be smarter?
Or Daft
Probably
Punk.
not.
Or Daft Punk.
And yes.
Or that one song by that guy.
Yeah, that one.
Based
That
on
was pretty
Daft
much the
song.
same song.
Yes, listeners, if you're wondering, we are wearing tuxes at this time.
Yeah, I'm not.
We
Fuck
spared
that, no.
we spared no expense.
One of us is wearing a button-up shirt.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of
There
us
you go.
had to be professional.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of us is going into their actual job later on tonight, and it doesn't look professional right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
There you go. Good job. Good job.
One of us is running off of very little sleep, and it's not me this time.
Yeah.
One of us is running on too much sleep.
Oh, that
Yeah.
will also
That's the
fuck
exact-
you up.
It's the exact same problem, just in a different
Yeah.
direction.
That used to be my problem working overnight. Is through the week I would get no sleep, and then on the weekends I would sleep all the time and feel just as shitty.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that,
So,
too.
2 out of the 4 people at this table were at NarbyCon 6 this weekend.
Yes.
One of them was NarbyCon adjacent, from what I can tell, over at the shop, and then one person just didn't show up at all.
Yeah.
So let's start with that guy. Ethan, what have you been up to?
Like we said previously, night shift at work. It's what's happening. I'm trying to pick up some games. I started a few months ago that I have not finished yet, including like God of War Ragnarok, Mass Effect. However, there is a game that came out, I want to say Friday or Saturday. Have you ever heard of Choo Choo Charles?
I have not. But I am
I
not.
know Choo Choo Rocket is
I'm not plugged in, as the kids say.
All right, so imagine this, everyone.
Okay.
Thomas the Tank Engine, but a spider and wants to kill everyone.
Gross.
Okay.
So it's like the premise is you go to this island to possibly help vindicate the people living there in terror of Choo Choo Charles. You have your own tank engine. You ride the rails, hopefully trying to avoid Charles, and collect like scrap to upgrade your train. You collect weapons for the gun mount at the back of it, and you just you play the game hoping that you don't encounter Charles.
Okay. This sounds indie as fuck.
If I'm correct, it was all made by one guy who like
Sounds
made
about right.
That sounds like an idea of one guy. Yeah.
he made this like fake trailer years ago, and people were so behind it so that he was like, people are actually wanting this.
That's
Maybe I
fine.
should make it.
That's how we got Machete and Machete
yeah.
2.
Right. Unfortunately, we didn't get, some of those movies made.
Yeah, we got the lesser of those.
Hobo with a Shotgun was very disappointing because the
I
trailer
haven't
was...
watched Hobo with a
Oh man, that
man.
sounds amazing.
Hobo
I
with
wanna
a
see
shotgun.
Hobo with a shotgun.
Hobo with a
trailer-
Shotgun, played by Rutger Hauer.
Right. The original trailer had somebody else in it. I can't remember who it was, but...
I didn't know that was from the Grindhouse thing. Because I never watched them together, so I didn't see all of like the trailers. I just saw when you watch the Dead Planet one. I saw that, and by the time I watched the Tarantino one,
Death Proof.
Death Proof,
Yeah.
it was just on its own DVD. So
All
none
the
of those-
trailers are on the Death Proof DVD, I think, too.
So yeah,
Yeah, nothing too exciting with me.
riveting.
Yeah.
Up next is Jody Kite.
I was at NarbyCon
NarbyCon 6.
Yeah.
The end of everything. That's the tagline I'm going to give.
There was I was at the convention center proper for a little while.
Yeah, you stopped by for a moment.
A moment being 2.5 hours or 3.
Yeah, casual moments.
We played me, Nick Krebs, Austin, Cheryl, and Nick's girlfriend Brittany played Draconis, which is
Ooh, I like that game.
Which is it's a deck builder, but the rules are very flimsy. Not so much as like They Live, but the rules are like a little tiny pamphlet, and they gloss over very important things that you need to know about certain situations that come up in the game. Not a fan of that, but the game overall is not very complicated. But, it's okay for a deck builder. And then I went back over to the shop with everybody and played a little Magic.
Okay.
Were you there for the trivia?
I was there for the trivia. I didn't partake in the trivia because I had left while that was still going on. But that was entertaining, to say the least. At home, I've been playing, let me preface it that we're running out of game developers that we can, we can't avoid everybody. At some point, like, everybody's going to be trash, and we're going to be playing video games regardless.
There's no ethical consumption.
Yeah, we're pretty much running out of, unless you're playing just indie games, you're fucked.
Yeah.
But the free game on PSN this month was Biomutant.
Okay.
Which I believe is Ubisoft. I can't remember.
It's Ubisoft.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So the game is kind of cool. It reminds me of PlayStation 3/360 era action hack and slash with like a little bit of RPG elements for upgrading your character and things like that. And there's like different classes and stuff. You have tanks and snipers and things like that or whatever.
How much random bullshit do you have to collect?
Not really any.
Oh, okay.
To be honest with you,
they've broken the mold then. So.
There's shit that you scavenge off of enemies, but it's more XP oriented kind of stuff. So there's that.
You don't have like flags or
none
markers.
Of that. No.
You don't have to climb to some height or defeat something and then to open up part of the map.
It's very linear, I will say that.
Okay.
Even though it's like a quote unquote open world, there's backtracking and stuff like that. It reminds me of I'd say it reminds me of like, Sly Cooper and like Jackson Daxter kind of games or whatever. So that's been fun. Besides that, I've been just working on episodes of Virology.
And hey, you didn't actually give them any money, so
No. I refuse to do that, but I will take free.
Yeah.
So
you basically stole from them.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
pretty much.
It's Sony. They're not going to know.
Well, it's Ubisoft.
Ubisoft, and they will know.
Yeah.
But that's it for me.
There you go. So now we got Brady up next. Brady, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I went to NarbyCon, played some games. We played Ankh. I won that one by the skin of my teeth. It was a really nail biter of a game.
To put that in perspective, first, second, and third place were each one off from one
Yeah.
another.
How about fourth place?
Was eliminated.
It's the first time I've ever played that game where somebody has actually been eliminated.
And it was the merged gods too.
Yeah.
So yeah. And they were only 2 off from being like if they if they had found 2 more points somewhere on the board, they would have got it.
Yeah. It just didn't work out. Yeah, we played a game of Blood on the Clock Tower. Jay will probably talk more about that. That was pretty good, except for kind of the douchebag that I sat beside, but whatever.
That happens, unfortunately.
The one to your left or your right? The older man or the younger man?
The older man.
Okay, there we go. So I need to know.
This is a audio medium. I was having to look to see what was my left or my right.
Yeah, there you go.
Sometimes I'm dyslexic about that.
There you go.
Yeah. What else did we fucking play? Oh, we played Libertalia.
That one looked pretty fun.
It's a pretty fun game. You're all like pirate crews, and you have like a deck of cards representing your crew.
I played that.
We all have the same. Everybody starts out with like the same cards. And you reveal them, and then they all have different powers. Higher numbers gets you. You literally take booty tiles. That's what they call them. So that's fun. Higher numbers get to choose the booty tiles, but lower numbers might have a stronger ability that maybe even like takes out a higher number. It's a pretty fun game. We played X-Men United. and Juggernaut whooped our ass. We lost that one. I feel like I'm missing something that we played, but I played Castles of Tuscany again. That's a really fun game.
Love that one.
What the? Huh?
If you're wondering why a ghost started talking behind us, is because somebody, maybe a ghost themselves, hit the button on the television.
Yeah, somehow it started playing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Rob Zombie wanted us to watch a review of his movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he sent us a Dracula message. I don't know. We'll workshop that one. The other thing, it was not something that happened to me, but it's something that came out in the news that really bugged me that I kind of want to talk about, and we don't have to spend very long on it, but I just want to mention it. It came out this past week. It's kind of been coming out a lot that like HBO Max has been just like canceling shows left and right, and not just canceling shows, wiping them basically from existence. So, hey, if you thought, well, I have HBO Max, I missed out on watching Westworld, this new season when it came out, and I'm going to catch up on that. Nope, not anymore. They're taking it off of there because guess what? You don't have to pay residuals to people if they can't watch the show.
Wow.
Yeah. The Minx, which was a pretty good little comedy show, got renewed and then got canceled. So if you see that your favorite show on HBO Max is renewed for a new season, it might not be later
They're
on.
continuing to film the second season in the hopes that something else will pick them up.
It is also being removed from HBO Max. The Nevers, which came out, which premiered with HBO, got half of the first season when HBO Max came out. 6 episodes. Then it went on hiatus because they were supposed to come back with part 2 of season 1. That's not happening, and it's being and those 6 episodes are being removed from HBO Max. What's happening here is that HBO is gambling on the fact that they're cutting these things, and they are gambling on the fact that you will still be okay with keeping HBO Max. That these aren't the important shows to you. But they're also trying to cut costs. And I think that is absolute bullshit. And this is one of my big worries. This is why I have almost been obsessively buying like physical media.
Oh yeah.
Because the way streaming has a lot of good things, but the fact that HBO, who some of these shows haven't come out on Blu-ray or DVD or anything like that, you just don't have access to them anymore, even though that you're still paying money for HBO Max. So I just wanted to air my grievances about that, and I think that that's bullshit. And this is like the one thing that I was scared about, is that corporations who run these streaming services have so much power with that. And right now HBO Max is one of the worst because they're not only canceling shows, which shows get canceled all the time. They're removing your ability to even watch them because they don't want to pay anybody residuals, and that is the absolute pinnacle of greed to me, and it really pisses me off. Yeah, so
I'll play devil's advocate for the corporation real quick. Is it greed, or is it just literally trying to cut costs? Because AT&T leveraged the Warner Brothers side of their company to a level that was ridiculous. I also think that decisions made by AT&T, while it was still directly under the AT&T umbrella, which it still is, it's just been shuffled off along with this Discovery nonsense to make Warner Brothers Discovery. That said, they made 2 very bad choices. One, they released their entire theater experience for an entire year, same day on release with their streaming, which completely alienated Hollywood, alienated the theaters. Like, I don't think there's a Warner Brothers release outside of Black Adam that I can remember from this year specifically.
I don't remember.
And that's a problem, because that's the only, there may have been more. That's the only one I can think of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you wouldn't remember that because unless we hadn't talked about it off mic.
Right, but yeah, so like I just think there is so much debt underneath that umbrella that they have to hack everything. It may not necessarily be greed; it just may have to be the fact that they have to cut as much as they can.
No,
the bad situation. they've been put in.
everything that a corporation does is out of greed. Corporations don't do anything out of the goodness of their heart; they do it out of greed. That's just how corporations work. They HBO and Warner Brothers and AT&T they did make some really stupid mistakes for some reason, because a lot of these companies didn't understand how streaming works, even though they had a model of Netflix to look at for a very long time.
I'd argue that the Netflix model is also not necessarily
matchable. That's possible. But when
like
you
Netflix makes the decision, oh, this thing seemed like it would have a really good buzz for one season, canceled. Like I don't even think
they
Netflix
usually let it.
knows
The
what
joke
goes
is that
on.
they usually let it go for three seasons. But
there have been some early like Netflix
Jupiter's
Netflix
Legacy.
was like one
the
season, wasn't it?
the show literally like ended at, because they put out most of it at one time. It was like 3 episodes a week, and then 2 weeks after the last episode dropped, they canceled the second season.
yeah, Netflix's problem is that they don't know. They keep guessing wrong about what's going to be popular. They didn't know Tiger King was going to be popular. They didn't know what's the other big one that happened this year.
Well, Tiger King was also helped, and streaming in general.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
due to the
But
pandemic.
like the
Like,
Squid Game,
to me,
Squid Game, they didn't know
Squid
they
Game
had
was
no
gonna
idea.
blow
Squid
up.
Game was buried for so long, and then it became a hit, and then it got pushed to the forefront. Like they don't understand like what people want.
And
I think that's
But
like.
I think
Netflix,
most
to
media
me-
corporations right now don't know what people want.
But specifically Netflix, I can't say you can look at Netflix as a model of this is how you do streaming. They've been around for a while, in part because they were the only ones doing it massively. Now that everybody's doing it, they're all kind of fucking up.
Well, you can.
Like
That is true.
I think the Disney form of it to me was fucking up with Mulan, where it's like, oh, you can have it, yeah, sure, $30,
Yeah.
in addition to your monthly
But
fee.
wait,
They tried that once or twice and then
And just
stopped
stopped.
doing it
Yeah,
because it was
now
a
it's
stupid
just
idea.
now it's just 3 months after it comes out. You're going to be able to watch it on there.
Right.
But not that you necessarily had to think that we just copy this and do that, but you have kind of a template of how streaming, of a successful streaming thing. Like you don't have to do exactly what they do, but it feels like they've done like a lot of really bad decisions. But yeah, it's they have a lot of debt, and yeah, they've made some bad decisions, but also there's a good chance that when the next quarter rolls around, they're gonna record pretty high profits. So I don't think that them doing it because the people that bought the company made bad decisions and that they're in a lot of debt. I don't think that still doesn't have anything to do with them, not doing it out of greed.
The most confusing thing to me about HBO Max is that they don't even utilize a large enough amount of the Warner Brothers library. Like a lot of that's not even on there.
Yeah. Well, the part that they do use from Netflix is that things will rotate out, and like it will go away, and then it'll come back.
Right.
I feel like Brady's having a moment. Like, how in movies there's people with like the sandwich cardboard signs, like the world.
Well,
will
I
end
have
soon,
been
the end
saying
is
that this is a
coming.
problem
It's like,
for a very long
We did
time.
have it. We had that episode of
The
you-
streaming episode.
Yeah.
The streaming
The
service.
streaming
I
episode.
gave the streaming episode. I gave this warning, and
It's coming to fruition.
know.
Buy physical media.
yeah, like this is why, again, like I'm buying physical media as much as possible.
He's holding DVD boxes in the air. It's like,
Blu-ray
now.
boxes. I'm not a Philistine.
Well, I'll say one thing. I know we don't need to keep talking about this, but like as far as like Netflix showing like old movies and shit like that, one thing that pisses me off is Gladiator's on Netflix for 3 months.
Yeah.
You better get on it right now.
But Netflix does this thing where it will leave and then it'll come back because Netflix mostly doesn't own most of the stuff. But Netflix also shotguns things. Like there's like, okay, Squid Game was popular. Let's literally buy every Korean show that we possibly can.
Yeah, they've got one. They've got a battle royale runner game on right now.
So, but like,
Hey,
that's neither here nor there. Again, I just wanted to kind of like air my grievances with that because it's really, really bugged me in the last few days. Because every time I look at my phone, it's like, oh, this other thing got canceled and it's being removed. Love Life, which was I watched the first season of that. It was really good. That first season was starring Anna Kendrick. Then they had a second season and it was starring I cannot remember the guy's name and I apologize to this guy because he's a really good actor, but he was also on The Good Place. He was Chidi on The Good Place. I haven't watched that show, and I guess I just won't get to because I'm not going to make it to be able to watch that episode before those episodes before it, leaves the show. I'm glad that I've watched all of Westworld
when
I could, so I at least have that in my memory until my memory fails me. So that's great. So that's what I've been doing, lamenting our current technological landscape. Isn't it great?
Yes.
Awesome.
Jay,
Yes.
what have you been doing?
Oh my God. Yeah. So NarbyCon 6, that game of Ankh that Brady won, I ran it because I had 4 additional players who had never played it before. That game is stunning on the table, especially when you get that many gods out on the table.
Oh yeah, people were just walking up and just looking.
Yeah, just looking and seeing what we were up to, and like, oh, this is impressive. So I'm very, very, very glad to see Mon for that. Very, very super glad for Simon for that. And then of course,
and everybody playing was just like, look at these. Look at this! Look at this! Look at this! Like,
yeah, one of the players, that Kathy, she chose Osiris, which I think is the best sculpt out of all of them, in my opinion.
It's a good one. It's not my favorite.
The dead venerating Osiris as he T poses on all of them, like it's just great. And then that was going to roll into Alice is Missing. We never got around to playing it that week, in part because there were a lot. It's my fault for booking the amount of intense games because Ankh gets intense when you have 5 people, and especially after that 4th one where the merge happens.
Yeah,
and you have the third conflict when the merge happens, and then like you're slowly creeping up towards the end, and people are starting to gain points at a much faster rate now because there's so much going on the board. That, and then later in the night was Blood on the Clock Tower. I had just enough time to rest up from Ankh to be able to do Blood on the Clock Tower, which that is the largest game of it I've ever run. It was 20 players.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
15 regular villagers, 5 travelers, which everybody knows who the travelers are. They just don't know if they're good or evil, which is pretty intense. There's also weird rules about how they interact with. It's always... Everybody can always vote to exile a traveler, but they can't vote to. But even if they're dead, but dead only get 1 vote to execute anybody. So that one's always, that's a kind of a weird change in there. The travelers can be extremely powerful. One of them is the bureaucrat, and the bureaucrat picks somebody during the night, and their votes count for 3 votes. The next day, your eye.
I'm sorry,
you can't see this, but Jody's eyes went from just slightly open to all the way open plus.
Jay, explain the gunslinger.
Oh no, we'll get to that.
You're gonna do all of them.
We're gonna get to that. Yeah.
What?
So the thief picks somebody, and their votes count negatively. So rather than counting for +1, they count for -1. If the bureaucrat and the thief team up, you could have someone with -3 vote.
That is amazing.
Yeah, the thief. I brought the thief in on the good side, the bureaucrat in on the bad side. The bureaucrat player didn't understand initially, so he gave the initial one to the monk, who had then +3 votes, which meant that the first bad guy voted out. You needed 10 in order to get them to executed. It was 8, but he chose the monk, and the monk voted for it, so it went to 10, and then that person was executed.
We never picked up on that.
Yeah,
wow.
no. It's like, no, like you hear me count out the votes, like 8, 10 votes. This person is to be executed. Everyone's looking like, what the hell's going on? Because you know the bureaucrat's in the game, and if the bureaucrat wants to, they can say, okay, well, I picked them that night, and that's the reason why there's +3 votes. If he stays silent, you never know who it was that exactly was picked. After that round, it's like, hey, you're on the evil team. Pick the evil people to get the extra votes because it's kind of a big deal. But yeah, so there was that. You have the beggar. The beggar cannot vote. He has to beg from the dead people to get votes so that he can vote. And then he spends those like coins. Like, have a hey penny, sir. I'd like to do a voting today. And then that happens that way. But when he does that, he finds out whether they're on the good or the bad side.
Oh.
But our beggar was evil, so he already kind of knew who was on the good and the bad side.
Yep.
So there was that. So and then there's the scapegoat. The scapegoat is if someone would be executed and they're on the scapegoat's team, the scapegoat gets executed instead.
It's like
Can
a
be.
reverse
Yeah.
virgin.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's on the nomination. If you're a townsfolk and you nominate the virgin, you immediately explode. It's great. Then the final one, the one that was the most impactful, and just from the description of the gunslinger. The gunslinger is after the first vote to execute in a day, he can just pick one of the people who raise their hands to shoot them dead. They're dead.
Oh.
Straight
Just
kill.
any number of times.
No. The
One-
first
the first-
vote to execute that
First
day.
time. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so every day he gets his chance, but it's on the first vote to execute. Yeah.
So once a day he can kill somebody.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And just keep going from that.
Yeah.
How long
what?
did that last?
That game
was a pretty long
started
game.
at we actually started it before 10 to get the rules down for some folk, and that game ended after 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
The breakout sessions
20
had
people.
The breakout sessions had a ton of energy to them.
Yeah.
It was a cool thing to be able to
What happened like the first night, like we didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
And then after the first day and then and then after the night when somebody died, then literally like everybody just broke out.
Yeah.
Like stepped away from the table. Except for me because I was tired and lazy.
Yeah.
I only stepped away when people like tapped my shoulder and was like,
hey,
"Hey,
man,
come over here and talk to me."
We know about stuff.
Yeah.
So just a kind of a capper on that one. So 3 years ago, we had a Ultimate Werewolf game with these guys from LSU, and they'd come down for the game. And it's like that game like went swimmingly well back then. It was really cool. It's like 3 years. They came back solely for the Saturday night game.
Oh, that's crazy.
And that oh my god, that put a huge smile on my face because my friends from Nashville who had come down tonight, they were also in that game 3 years ago. So there was just like this weird reunion that we didn't see coming. It was like, oh, this is pretty good. Everyone seemed to have a good time afterwards. I was very happy about that. That is the most complicated version of that I have run. It is not the most complicated version to be run. To me, that belongs to the Sects, SECTS, and Violets, VIOLETS version of the game, because that's where people go mad. And when they go mad, they have to perform a certain thing in a certain way. And if they don't, you just kill them. And just keeping track of that for 20 people, I would just want to die.
Yeah, no.
I would just want to death.
You don't want to do that.
So yeah, there we go. So there was that. And then the next day was again another intense game. Was Captain Sonar. Again, the LSU crew and the Nashville crew got together and they decided to throw down playing boats, and that was pretty fun. And then just a lot of it was just being able to just kind of sit back and just relax and like being around people gaming. That
There
you
was a
don't get to game
lot
with.
of people.
There was a lot
Yeah.
of people. That's probably the most successful one.
That's
yet.
the biggest
Well, they had a
Narbicon.
40K tournament and a Star
And a Star Wars Legion
That was half the
tournament.
room.
like, going at the same time.
People playing
Hero clicks.
Bolt action.
Also.
Bolt action.
Hero Clicks was started a little bit after that because if you've ever done or been at a 40K event, you need to start in the morning and you're going to go all the way to like 8-9
Yeah.
o'clock at night.
Right.
It's just the way it is.
There was a table where they had a giant Formula D table set up.
Yeah, with Hot Wheels cars, that was pretty cool.
That sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, that
And
was
like the dashboards were like 3D printed. They looked pretty cool. And he had like I watched it a little bit, but like the guy was talking about how he had some kind of like they did like it was like a photo finish, so he had like a formula that he created or something. So that's interesting, but I didn't get to play that because I played Formula D a lot. So
It's a pretty fun game. First game you and I ever won. I ran it and you played it.
Yeah.
And that was the first day
yeah,
I
that's the
met
first
you.
game I ever played at McNarb's.
So yeah,
There's a game I am wanting to play.
yeah,
It's
there you
fun.
go.
It's fun.
There you go. And then I bought Dune Imperium. Normally, I eschew away from games that the other friends have bought because it's like, okay, they've got it, so we don't have to worry about it. But it has the word Dune in it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
It's a
much
really,
a draw
really
for
good
me.
game.
And also, I bought an overpriced owlbear baby. His name is Sebastian. He arranges matches. That's a joke from Eddie Izzard. So there you go. And he has a little magnetized fish that he can carry in his mouth, and it's just gorgeous.
How much did you pay for Sebastian?
Less than the sticker price, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Gotcha.
There you go. I haven't had a fraud warning come up on buying them yet, so I think we're okay. But there you go. But that was my weekend. That's pretty much what I've been doing.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Hey, Jay. Do you have any feedback this week?
We have feedback this week. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you for stopping by and riding on the bus with us. If you have other friends that would like to be passengers on the Omnibus, let them know that they can catch us on Spotify, Apple, Google, and Anchor. Saga, which I believe Fearology is now in Saga.
Take out the Apple and replace it with Amazon Music. Because,
still Saga.
Yeah,
it'll be Sagam.
Yeah, yep.
I'm on Google. I actually watch stuff on. Listen to stuff on.
I'm on Google now, so Brady can listen to my show.
Well, Amazon's
Music.
the one that I use. I use Google if like nothing else.
Okay,
look at you branching out.
Yeah. Well, there's like 10 options, and a lot of them wanted me to do like Apple wanted me to sign in blood, so I decided against it.
Yeah. They didn't ask for blood from me because they knew I didn't have any left.
Oh.
There you go. But yeah, no, it's time for our passenger feedback, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to get in touch with us, travelers on the omnibus at gmail.com. Again, that's travelers, 1L on the omnibus at gmail.com. Jody, where else can they get in touch with us?
Well, you can message us directly on Spotify, and we have polls on there too.
Absolutely. Very good stuff. First off, the ubiquitous Kevin Gallo, a.k.a. Ronan Roosta. He only had one feedback this week. It was a GIF from the Tim and Eric Awesome Show, which basically had the words rent-free, I'm assuming, because he lives rent-free in your brain, Brady. I'm just saying. So there's that. Deal with that on your own time.
I'm disappointed, Kevin. You could have put more effort into that. Also, Tim and Eric's terrible. I like each of them individually with some of the stuff that they do. Old dude was good in Us, but Tim and Eric.
I'll state that I liked Tom Goes to the Mayor, and that's it.
I do not like Tom Goes to the Mayor either. Yeah.
There we go.
So he'll probably send us feedback on that because he'll feel personally insulted by that. So that's cool. We'll make up for it next week.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
So from our friend Brad Townsley, B-Towns Down. It is 5 movies that Ethan should watch.
Oh, okay. I am pins and needle. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Brad Townsley has listed 2 movies, sports movies specifically.
Okay.
Friday Night Lights and Rocky 3, the best Rocky. Incorrect. Rocky 2 is the best Rocky.
Incorrect. Rocky 1 is the best Rocky, but
someone say Rocky 4 is the best Rocky.
Anyone but 5 is
Rocky
watchable.
1 is the best Rocky.
Okay. Anyone but 5 is watchable.
I'm trying to remember the Rocky movies.
Rocky,
Sylvester Stallone,
Rocky 2,
Hulk Hogan.
He
fought the Russian in the 4th one, right? That was the 4th one.
Russian, and then
it's Apollo Creed, Clubber Lang, Drago, some kid in an alley. We are going to get copyright strike.
No, because I don't sound like Survivor.
You sound like it enough.
It's not. You have to like.
Those greedy bastards don't care how good you sound.
You have to. It has to be the original. What I was doing was parody.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. Ask people on YouTube how that works.
Movies.
Okay.
All right. These are 2 wartime movies. Letters from Iwo Jima and Full Metal Jacket.
Okay. Yeah. Both of those are very good.
I haven't seen Letters from Iwo Jima.
That's the.
It's the other. Yeah. It's the other side of Flags of Our Fathers. Flags of Our Fathers was Iwo Jima from the Americans, and then Letters from Iwo Jima was. It's a really good performance by what's the guy's name? He was in Inception. He was in the 2 of the Godzilla movies. He was in The Last Samurai.
Ken Watanabe.
I don't know why his name just flew out of my brain, but yeah, really good performance from him.
And then for comedies, and our number 2 on the list, The Big Lebowski.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Good list.
Real quick, I'm handing you the magic bullet machine gun again. Have you seen any of them?
I've seen Rocky 3. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Rocky. Yeah. Oh, so you have seen Rocky 3
and Full Metal Jacket.
And there you go.
This is my rifle. There are many like them, but this one is mine.
Here's my question. After the first half, does the movie fall off?
There's a right answer.
No, I don't think so. No,
I think the movie ends at boot camp.
No,
I agree with Jody. Once it leaves boot camp, that movie goes downhill for me.
I think it's just because it's it's because even though it's trying it ends tragically, like there's so much it's entertaining, but the movie still has a lot to say in the second half.
It's hard to follow that,
and
like
it's downer.
that scene at the very end of the first part of the movie is just like boom.
But
there you go.
I think it's it might not be as good as the first half, but it's still really, really good.
To me, the entire movie is supposed to what is it, the Vietnam War?
Yes.
It's supposed to like show the process of becoming a Marine through the Vietnam War, going through boot camp, and what was actually like to be over there.
Yeah.
And so I believe you kind of need both perspectives in order for the movie to work.
Yeah.
That's a fair point, and I agree with that. It's just, to me, it's like the quality of that movie drops off. And it's not just because... No, actually, I think it's because you lose Arlie Ermy and Vincent D'Onofrio. Like that.
That's true.
That's
too.
That's two hard people to lose in first half without feeling like it doesn't like go down a little bit, at least for me. Like I respect Matthew Modine and I like his performance in it, but yeah, it's just.
Yeah, I don't feel like it goes that far down. It might. It's a slight dip, but I don't think it's that far down.
All right. Again, from Lionel Clark, visual arts instructor, D'Iberville High School, adjunct instructor, Pearl River Community College, and my cousin. I think y'all missed a movie that would make an impact on this young man's life. Okay. That movie is Clerks. Hear me out. 1, it's a modern coming-of-age movie for the modern man who's still trying to find direction in the world. 2, it's a modern black and white movie. 3, it shows him that if you really want to do something, fuck it and just do it. It introduced Kevin Smith into the pop culture. That was point 4. And point 5, it represents a day that we can all relate to, especially if you hate your job, Brady.
Yeah.
Excuse you?
Yeah.
Jody hates his job as well.
Yeah, but there's one of us that famously hates his job.
Yes.
I could be
He voices his grievances.
Yeah, I don't ever do that.
I could be completely wrong, but this is a movie I watch at least twice a year just to keep me in the right headspace. Here's your next top 5. Top 5 movies that you should watch at least twice a year. Thank you for the great podcast.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good one. P.S. How's the rap over the intro going? Let me start with the last first. It's not going, man. It's not going.
About Clerks.
I don't even wrap Christmas presents. Like
that is true.
Yeah.
I'm buying a lot of bags this Christmas.
There you go.
So about Clerks, I would be interested in Ethan watching that because he says modern coming of age, but it's modern Gen X, elder millennial coming of age, not Gen Z, which is where Ethan's at.
Right.
I would be interested in him watching it to see how he feels about it, but that movie was not made for when you say modern. There's a time frame.
Unfortunately, the movie is extremely dated. In
modern,
the time
modern to him.
We talked about
that is one of his Kevin Smith's better of the View Askew universe.
I would argue it's the best. Like I like Dogma. We went over this last week with Mallrats. I think it is definitely a piece of its time. Like I don't think you can't pull it out of the 90s.
I think
in my opinion,
Dogma holds up. Well, what we considered on is like Dogma holds up better than most of those other movies.
I agree with
that.
There
are movies, and there are also movies that Kevin Smith made that aren't in that universe. Right. That like Red State is like really, really good.
Yeah, I kind of shifted gears a bit too much there. What I was saying about Clerks is a product of its time.
Yeah.
It is a 90s movie.
Yeah.
Early 90s movie at that. Early 90s movie.
And I think I don't think you can pull it out of its time and then place it in another time frame, at least for me.
I would be interested in seeing someone of Ethan's age watch that movie and see how he feels about it.
Yeah, see how his elders understood the
so
world.
That would be for that point, but I don't know if Ethan would get as much out of it as someone of that age.
We mentioned it last week. A lot of that stuff does not hold up. Chasing Amy being the absolute.
Oh, it definitely does not. Chasing Amy doesn't hold up.
And Kevin Smith in and of himself, like you said last week.
Yeah, he's like he said that I shouldn't have made this. This wasn't my movie to make, but I did it. So
right.
Which is unfortunate because like Chasing Amy has a lot. I think of his movies, it has the most potential. It's just like it didn't need to. His viewpoint didn't need to be seen in that.
Right.
I would argue just and not to be an apologist for someone who's already kind of, I won't say disowned, but kind of moved away from the work. I would just say that if those movies don't get made, you're not getting that door open enough for the movies that should end up getting made. There might be something there to that.
We might have to table that for discussion off mic about what specifically.
Maybe on mic on an episode. Maybe.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it's worth necessarily having a gigantic discussion about. But I would want to hear what movies you think that, because I think Chasing Amy kind of had less of an impact than some of his other movies.
Well, I think for it being independent too, because it was he did Clerks. I know we're not gonna be on this.
Chasing Amy's not independent. That was a studio picture.
Yes, but they did not.
Miramax,
they had almost no money though to make that movie.
It's still being produced and put out by a studio. Like Clerks in and of itself, they had to find distribution. Once he got to Chasing Amy,
Max saw his credit cards out to make that movie.
But once he got to Chasing Amy, the distribution was already set in stone.
Yeah,
with
Clerks, that's an achievement, not necessarily on a technical front, because it is a very, very basic movie,
right?
But it's an achievement because of the money used and how little was even though he maxed out all his credit cards, it ended up it wasn't a very expensively made movie, and it was completely independently made,
right?
But it got picked up and was able to make him shoot into the stratosphere, so to speak. So yeah,
there you go. Alrighty, so again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for stopping by for passenger feedback. Again, if you have any feedback, travelers on the Omnibus at gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, from the studios at MacNarb Gaming, it's the Omni Awards!
Yay.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we made it to the end of the year, so we're going to do our first annual ever Omni Awards. So we've picked out our own categories, literally picked out our own. Each of us have our own personal categories, which we will present to you here. We might have 3 of them. We might have 50 of them. We don't know. But we're going to go until we get tired, and hopefully you go with us for as long as that as well. So who wants to fire off with their first awards of the evening?
I'll go first.
I want to start off, though, by saying, all award shows suck. Ours suck slightly less.
There you go.
People actually care about our awards.
Only one person showed up in a button-up shirt for these awards. So
professionalism.
No, you're breaking kayfabe. We all have tuxes on right now. They were very expensive to rent.
Rent? We own these.
Yeah, we own them.
Oh, nobody told you to rent them? I'm sorry, Ethan.
Oh, hell. Now I know why you need that overtime. There we go. That makes sense.
Some people have college loans. Some people just buy tuxes.
There you go. Absolutely. All right, so before we go further afield, Ethan, you said you wanted to go up first. Yeah. Go up there. Here we go.
So, growing up, my father introduced me to a good amount of music, mainly focusing on rock and roll music. And last year, a tragedy happened where Taylor Hawkins passed away from the Foo Fighters. Mm-hmm. And in this past March, they had a Taylor Hawkins tribute concert in London. Mm-hmm. So I would like to give the Omni Award for Best Musical Performance to the Foo Fighters Taylor Hawkins tribute concert.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So just straight up, no nominees, just straight up reward.
No nominations.
They're just straight up.
A lot of interesting combinations in there. One of the best things that I remember watching from that was they played My Hero, and they had Taylor Hawkins' son actually play the drums.
That was great.
They played a Rush song. I can't remember which Rush song they played, and they had Danny Carey from Tool, who was one of. Now that Neil Peart's dead,
because they couldn't get Neil Peart to do the drums.
The best drummer alive. Yeah. Fill in for him. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but there was some really good stuff on that. Mm-hmm. Alanis Morissette played. They played "You Ought to Know," which is a really fucking good song.
Yep.
And to see all those people gathered in that stadium. Everyone singing "My Hero," mm-hmm. Dave Grohl actually crying during the song. Mm-hmm. Shane just going absolute ham on the drums.
Yeah,
I loved all of it.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Yeah, I haven't watched the whole thing, but I've watched bits and I've watched bits and pieces, and it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert is our first Omni Award of the evening. Who has the next one up? Who wants to go?
I'll go.
There we go. Sure. All right, there we go.
Huzzah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put on here the award for Biggest surprise. So, as most people who watch the show know, Game of Thrones ended with a wet fart. Even though I don't hate the last season, I just think it should have been like 2 or 3 seasons worth of material in one season. Like it should have been stretched out. Like the places that they went weren't terrible, but they just did it too quickly.
The pacing, yeah.
The pacing was all over the place in those last 2 seasons.
Pacing that they had been known for being a little bit slower.
Yeah.
And then, you know.
Yeah. You've trained us for 6 seasons to have pretty slow pacing. But so, and it kind of went out of at least the internet's, collective consciousness. But then HBO announced and said, hey, we're going to be doing House of the Dragon, which is going to be a prequel for following the Targaryens of, in Game of Thrones, who we only meet a couple in the actual show. By the time we meet them, there's like 2 Targaryens and that's it. And then one of them dies by getting gold poured on his head.
Spoilers.
Here's your crown.
Crown
this
king.
Was it 10 years ago?
Yep.
You've had plenty of time.
2011. You should have known already.
I'm bad with actual dates. So I went into this with like very trepidatious. I was not thinking that this was going to be anything that I was going to enjoy. I was just going to watch it because it was something to watch. And I do like the world of Game of Thrones, and it surprised me a lot. It was not. It could be difficult to follow because this is a royal family. They really only have like 5 names, and it's just variations of those, which can be very frustrating. And there were time jumps, but the time jumps weren't quite super confusing because they were really good. And this was also like they did a really good job of like when they aged up a character and they changed them to an older version of them, the person looked like them, and the person was also a really good, Emma D'Arcy and Olivia Colman are phenomenal in this show. It's a really good show. It's not perfect, but like it's better than anything Game of Thrones deserves to be nowadays. So that's my biggest surprise of the year is damn, this is actually a pretty good show. And I think going by talk on the internet that it's kind of revived people's love of Game of Thrones. Now ladies and gentlemen, do not let this make you retroactively say that the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones were actually like great and we just don't know what the fuck we're talking about. No, they were bad, and Benioff and Weiss need to be dragged over the coals for that. So that's it. That's it. House of Dragons, biggest surprise.
There you
go. For me, it's not necessarily something that's come out this year that I want to give an award to, or at least a nomination to, and it will be Mouse for the best graphic novel I've read. Not just this year, but like overall, I think probably. I think Mouse very.
Yeah, it's one of those that you need to read before you die.
If you want further in depth, go back to our episode on non-superhero comics and to have a gander at that one, because I think we talked so glowingly about it, and I don't think we've talked glowingly enough about it because it's just that good and powerful.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sorry, we'll go Mouse. Okay, so I actually did nominees for my selection. So this is my media of the year category. This is going to be television and movies, and the stuff that kind of moved me this year. So we have my nominees are Cyberpunk: Edge Runners, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and House of the Dragon. My winner, Cyberpunk: Edge Runners. Outside of Transmetropolitan, which I've now confirmed to this in my brain, it is the best piece of cyberpunk literature, movie, television, however you want to say it, that I feel has ever been produced all time. I hope they never do a second season of this, because this was a perfect 10-episode season, paced extremely well. And this is coming from a guy who genuinely hates anime. Yeah. They knocked it out of the park. Studio Trigger did an absolutely fantastic job. The voices are amazing. The the short, and the only reason why it's short is because he was burning candles at both ends. Life of David Martinez should go down in like cyberpunk history, not just the Mike Pondsmith created Cyberpunk 2077, not just that, but in cyberpunk of the genre itself. This is one of the best stories you're going to ever see from that genre. So yes, my media of the year, Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Well, something I want to say about that, because I thought about Cyberpunk Edge Runners for some of my stuff, but I knew that you were going to talk glowingly about it, so I didn't put it on there. But one of the things that this show is different from a lot of Studio Trigger things is Studio Trigger oftentimes it's about the spectacle. It's about, watching batshit crazy things on here. And they get the spectacle with this, but they also tell a really good story. Sometimes that gets lost with Studio Trigger, and this was like,
I would
almost
argue
an
it
exception.
never happens with Studio Trigger because it's always so off the wall. But they do a very good job, at least with the writing and the pacing in this one, of here's some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Now here's some just stuff like slice of life,
A lot of
melodrama, actual
soulful
drama,
storytelling.
It's very good. Oh my god. I
Yeah,
love
they had to rein in the over the top all the time, such as in like Kill la Kill, which is just nonstop.
Well, the opening is almost like the opening and the ending is almost complete Studio Trigger. Like just the way it's presented. Oh my god. But yeah.
That's a good one.
Great.
Ethan, give us another one.
So this award is going to be called the Most Disappointing Gaming Experience Award.
Wrong one, but keep going.
Nah.
So, have you guys heard of Digimon? No?
Yes.
Digimon, digital monsters.
Digital
Digimon
monsters?
are the champions?
Digimon.
Yes.
So that Digimon?
Yes, that
Okay.
Digimon. So,
Never heard of them.
Oh, really? Digimon has been infamous for making games, but not good games. Like the closest they've gotten to making a decent video game is, I want to say it was like Digimon Dawn for the Nintendo DS, I think. But even then, like there was so many things wrong with it.
Are we
And-
talking about Digimon Scarlet and Violet?
Nah, that's a different one.
Oh, okay.
That's a different Digimon.
But it was the best thing that people had. So at the time that people held it up to, like they put it on a pedestal like higher than this roof because
man.
it was the only thing that we had.
And this roof is at least 20 feet.
Yeah. So I want to say it was either Konami or Bandai Namco that
I think it's Bandai.
It's probably Namco.
No, because Yu-Gi-Oh is Konami.
Yeah.
they announced that they were making a new Digimon game for 2019, and then some setbacks happened, and then pandemic, and then eventually the game came out in this past July called Digimon Survive.
Okay.
I have never been so disappointed playing a game. The best way I could describe it is you're playing a video game of a movie that has RTS themes to it.
Okay.
Like
I apologize for interrupting, but just from the Wikipedia, Digimon Survive is a visual novel with tactical role-playing game elements. What?
yeah,
That sounds terrible. I don't want to play that.
On Steam, it got a 9 out of 10.
Of course.
IGN gave it a 6 out of 10. Their bar ends at 7. What the fuck? Sorry about that. I had to bring it in there.
no, I needed that because I'm not the biggest fan of like movie games, but there are some exceptions. This is not an exception.
Yeah.
It's just not good. And the worst thing of it is like, depending on what you do in like the beginning of the game affects everything. Hey, you don't build relationships with this person. That person just dies before you even finish the tutorial.
Oh, that's awesome.
And there's so many things that they could have done with this, and so many promises that Namco made that this is going to be the one game that people have been asking for. This is the one that people need. It is a dumpster fire. So yeah, most disappointing game experience.
Sounds like worst game of the year for you, buddy.
Ethan, you know how you never be disappointed, right? You just don't expect anything. Yeah. Then you're never disappointed. That's
So,
that's some millennial wisdom for you.
Also, never impressed.
yeah.
At the same.
But yeah, that's my award.
There you go. So for most disappointing game experience. Pokemon. Jesus Christ, we're gonna get to that. We'll get to that.
Pokemon Survive.
Same difference.
Pokemon Survive.
Digimon Survive.
Although I'll watch a Digimon show before I'll watch a Pokemon show any day.
That checks.
Yeah.
Right, Brady, keep this train rolling.
Yeah. I'm gonna do my best / most visceral theater experience.
I'm just gonna continue to do wrong sound effects throughout all.
Thank
think that's
you
appropriate.
for that.
There you go.
So close on this would have been Wakanda Forever, but it kind of averaged out with the beginning and the end of the movie. But the all the middle with the shitty theater experience that I talked about in a previous episode. I'm certain maybe I don't know, Kevin, he'll look back and see which episode that was that I talked about
Rent free. Kevin, rent free Gallo.
Yeah, it's again, I'm just giving him more fuel. But hey, engagement, isn't that the thing?
Yeah, it is. It is.
I look forward to the white women emails as well. But
that episode's already been out a day or
again,
so.
it averages out. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time.
There you go.
It averages out to where I can't put that on there. So the movie Nope. Has anybody gotten a chance to watch this
I
yet?
haven't watched it yet. I want to though.
It's
I knew I was gonna say, but
Yeah.
he got the joke out.
wait, low hanging fruit there, Ethan. I'm picking. I love low hanging fruit. I do it all the time.
Yeah. Picking low hanging fruit.
Mhm.
I see it there.
So this movie, there are a couple of moments in this movie that are so horrific, and they barely even show anything. There's an episode. There's a part where that involves a chimpanzee on a television show, and nothing horrible is shown, but like just from the noises and the reaction of everybody around, like it's one of those where your mind does all the work. And then the other one is when you actually figure out what's going on. That realization when you realize what's actually happening to people at that time is almost stomach churning. Like it is really like that was when that realization hit me in the theaters when I was watching it. And if you watch the movie, you will know the moments that I'm talking about.
It is currently on Peacock.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on Peacock if you want to watch it. It's one of those that I think is really, really worth seeing in the theaters, although it's not in the theaters now, but it's still worth watching regardless. Yeah, when those couple of moments hit, and on top of that, like the rest of the movie is very good. Like everybody is great in it. See a previous episode where I did talk about it. But when those moments happen in that, man, it is just like you just kind of just sit there in it for a little while you realize what's happening, and you're like, oh my God, this is terrible. So yeah, that's it. My best / most visceral theater experience of this year. Yeah. If you haven't, if you've stumbled into an AMC movie theater, you know that the movies are back. So yeah, go watch some movies in the theaters, and hopefully you'll have some good experiences with that. Yeah, that's it.
There you go, Jody.
All right.
Oh, you were shaking your head. You're like, do you have one? Or
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank God.
So I talked about this recently. I wasn't. I went into watching this film with no expectations, and I was more than mildly surprised by how well it was executed. And that is the remake of Suspiria that I saw within the past couple of.
That's not.
That's Jesus
not
Christ.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah. All the energy just
That's
going
just
no. Yes, I think that's probably one of the best remakes I've seen. I had said before that, if you're going to do a remake, you have to stay somewhat close to the source material, but make things different enough to make them interesting for the person who's seen the original. And I think they knocked that out of the park. So the Suspiria from 2 years ago or whenever it came out.
But this was the year you experienced it.
Yeah.
So this is
All viable.
the most pleasant, like most surprising.
It's one of the best remakes I've seen.
Oh, so best remake.
Best remake.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. Okay. All right. My next one is going to be. Yes. Oh, yes. It's going to be YouTuber of the Year. YouTube is a very important part of our entertainment and some maybe even of our edutainment lives. And so I wanted to list these 4 wonderful YouTubers that I've dealt with a lot of them before, but this year just to me, I thought their content just really just knocked it out of the park. We got Mini Kudos, we got Mandalore Gaming, Video Game Donkey, and The Cold Ones. And my award goes to Mandalore Gaming.
Okay.
He is, in my opinion, the best video game reviewer right now, like in the world. As far as like his long form stuff, in particular, you need to look at his stuff involving Marathon. It was a 4-part series. The last one was almost an hour on Marathon Infinite.
Right.
It is entirely exceptional. It goes through the entire like original Bungie before Halo. Video game series about Marathon, Pathways into Darkness, Marathon 2, and Marathon Infinite. It's absolutely he just did a tremendous job this year. Just putting these like you look at that, because I played Marathon, I thought years ago, and you can play that game and not know a drop of what's going on in that story. If you sit back and like look at the amount of effort they put into the story in that thing, which back then the way you did it, you had to do it was through these like very baroque, like long form like entries on these computers that you meet throughout the game. But oh my God, that game is way deeper than I ever gave it credit for, and he goes full on through and in and out the other side. Absolutely amazing. Mandalore Gaming is my favorite YouTuber of the year. Slowly rising the list of favorite YouTuber all time, as far as I'm concerned.
I like your inclusion of Cold Ones.
Cold Ones, yeah.
The channel started as a pun off of Hot Ones. 2 Australian guys drinking beer and making fun of shit. And comedy on YouTube specifically, it's not in the forefront because it's normally not done well, or it's usually tied to gameplay of some kind, like Game Grumps or whatever. These guys just knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
Like Cold Ones, they're hilarious.
Yeah. But after we finish recording, Brady, I want you to see this episode on cursed animations that they went to Fiverr for.
Yes.
Holy hell.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is absolutely worth seeing. But no, I want one of the reasons, again, why I wanted to give some nominees, because there were some other ones this year. Mini Kudos is one of the, in my favorite sarcastic, he does a lot of stuff on, these are like the top 4 scandals of like Warhammer and things like that. He brought up, not to offend anyone, but he brought up a GT Talavera that happened this year where a gentleman came in there and gave the name Austrian Painter, and he had a swastika, wore a swastika made of swastikas. Mini Kudo said that specifically, or as I like to call it, the worst maze. And it's just the way of just taking the fucking venom out of that and just throwing it back at the guy. He is exceptional as well. Like I want to make sure. Video Game Donkey, if you don't know on YouTube, good
he's
God,
great.
He's like outside of again those 3, like, but every year. And I also want to give a shout out to him for actually starting his own independent game studio, Big Mode, which I think like he's taking his money and like giving back in the business sense to the community with this place. With hopefully, if it works out well, we might see some good indie games come out of it. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
So Ethan, continue.
Right,
I can't wait to piggyback off of Jay's idea. Go ahead.
There you go.
So I have an interesting one. I call this.
That was good. That was good. That was appropriate. There you go.
I call this the most exciting and useless celebrity drama award.
Oh, okay. I like
All
this. Okay.
And a lot of people, we don't have much going on with our lives. We go to work, we go home, we chill with friends, but nothing too exciting goes on.
Speak for yourself, Ethan.
Yeah, speak for yourself. It's all going to happen for me one day.
But for some reason, whenever we hear like the slightest bit of celebrity drama, we want to latch onto it and just see where this goes.
The views of Ethan
do not reflect
the views of everybody else in this. Like, if you're interested in celebrity drama, that's fine.
Don't get it wrong. This is useless drama.
Oh yeah. And
that's all.
Well, I'm not even saying that you're wrong for it being interested in it. It's just like I try not to be interested in it at all. But
unfortunately, I couldn't pick a winner between my 2 runner-ups. So I decided to give these 2 a tie.
Oh, okay.
It is going to be Chris Rock and Will Smith along with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Yeah.
We didn't need to know about it, but we do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's people like to latch onto things with celebrities, and it's whatever.
Everybody is terrible.
Yes.
Yes. It's just that we're so involved with these people's lives, or we think that we are.
And
Well, it goes to parasocial.
I was
relations.
literally just about to say parasocial relationships.
And I would like to say something before I start getting emails. The thing with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, that was between them, but it did not need to be televised for all of America to watch.
Yeah, there was kind of that was kind of the point of that. But
Well, it was almost the O.J. Simpson trial of this day and age.
Mm-hmm.
That was another thing that did not
unfortunately.
need to be televised. But
yeah, unfortunately.
to be fair, there's interest in it. There is, whether or not we like there's interest in it, there is
unfortunately,
interest in it.
Even if it's ironic interest by the meme lords.
Hence the most exciting
Well, then
use of celebrity drama.
then it circles back
Right.
around to where it's unironic.
Yeah,
But,
that's very
Did you
true.
think Will Smith's career would be destroyed in the same year he finally won an Oscar? I mean, legitimately, like he finally got his Oscar. Like after trying with Ali, I think he was absolutely wonderful in 6 Degrees of Separation, like which was one of his first movies or first things that broke him out of just
Outside of
the
Fresh
Will
Prince.
Smith mode.
Yeah.
What was it he got it for? King Richard?
I got
Yeah,
for King
King
Richard.
Richard.
King Richard was good. Like
I just had no interest in watching a movie about the Williams sisters.
I thought he did.
But
a
instead of the
fantastic job in
Williams
it.
sisters, you focus on the dad.
Let me just my own kind of like a personal take on that. I did not know about that. I was working the night the Oscars were going on. I did not know about the slap, and so like I come back in to the office and we got the Oscars on, and it's like, oh, best actor. Okay. Oh, Will Smith won. Okay, this is cool. Why is he going on about like this? This is weird. Like what is he referencing?
Yeah,
I
just
didn't
never
know
stop.
until I got home 2 hours later. And he slapped Chris Rock.
Yeah, it's
Shit. That colors everything in a way different brush.
He pulled that G.I. Jane reference out
Yeah.
from 1991 that
Yeah,
nobody got.
it was a very like not funny. It was just a milquetoast joke, but apparently, Will Smith's a wife guy, so
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently they're going to air all their grievances on Red Table, so you get to
there
watch
you go.
they
You
are.
get to watch it.
get
Yeah.
to watch that. Also, Will Smith has a movie coming out called Emancipation where he plays a slave, so he's trying to force his way into the Oscars again, even though he's banned.
I think that was already I think his principal photography was already
Possible,
done well
yeah.
before that. So I think maybe he was always trying for an Oscar, because that was
that's all he
that
does
was really
now.
the
It
last
really is.
laurel. Like he'd been he'd been a
Yeah.
top recording artist. He'd been the guy in Hollywood throughout the middle of the 90s. And then that was the last thing really is like to get, because I think he has Grammys and I think he has the MTV Awards, but MTV Awards are fun. But yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of all he does now is chase Oscars. Like he rarely does just regular old movies anymore.
There you go.
Yeah.
Brady, another one.
I'm gonna go with the best TV show. Thank you. There were a lot of really good TV shows this year. Barry, if you haven't watched that, Bill Hader, he's an assassin who tries to quit being an assassin and goes to Hollywood to try and be an actor.
Harry Winkler. They both won Emmys for that, haven't they?
I
know
so.
Henry Winkler. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Henry Winkler won for
And
that.
I think Barry, the show once. It's a great show. It's a very underrated show.
Can't wait for HBO Max to pull that one off.
Yeah, probably will. A show that actually ended this year, Better Things. It's a lesser known. It's Pamela Alden. She's actually the voice of Bobby Hill on King of the Hill, but she has a show where she's kind of a fake look at it. She plays an actress in Hollywood, and she's dealing, but it's a very, very good show, and it actually had its series finale this year, and it was very, very good. But I'm gonna have to go with Under the Banner of Heaven also was great. Really great performance by Andrew Garfield. The supporting cast, probably Sam Worthington's best performance, which I know is a low bar, guys, but he did really good in that. But I'm gonna have to go with The Bear. This is from the guy. I can't remember his name, and I don't feel like looking it up.
The guy that plays Lip Gallagher.
Lip Gallagher in Shameless. This is him.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
He's don't.
No, do.
I want to give this guy credit, okay?
He comes from he's a chef at a really high end restaurant, and his brother dies, and he ran a restaurant in Chicago that was kind of just like a piece of shit restaurant, and he comes back to try and his brother commits suicide, so he comes back to run the shop, and there's so much tension in this. All the characters are great.
Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah, but he's a great actor. It has probably one of the best episodes I've seen in the entire year. The next to last episode, which was done like in one take. It was done like a one take. I think it was actually one take, if I'm not mistaken. And it shows that really shows like the tension and stress of a kitchen. Also a really interesting thing from that. So this is everybody's preparing food and everything. There were no hand models in this. So everything that you see when somebody's preparing food, they didn't get somebody to come in and do that. It's the people, the actual actors are doing all the stuff. So that's a really cool thing. But that's a great show. Funny, hilarious, but also like tense and really, really good. It's got some really effective moments. So yeah, that's my best TV show of the year.
It also has Oliver Platt.
He plays a small. He has like a small role in it. But everybody, there's also look on there. There's kind of a woman who's this is one of her first. Like she hasn't done a whole lot, but she's a breakout star in that as well.
You've seen the show, so
yeah. Ayo Adebiri. If I apologize, ma'am, if I butchered your name, but like she deserves a shout out because she's also really, really good in there. She's like just out of like a chef school, and she applies to work there just because that guy is there. So, and she knows his reputation. So yeah, check that out. The Bear. It's on Hulu. I don't think Disney is about removing their stuff from there, so you should still be able to watch it.
Yeah, I think they shook him on FX. First.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was FX, and then
went
it's on
Hulu.
Then it's on Hulu. Mm-hmm. They're really good about like the day after things come out on Hulu,
right?
So you can watch them pretty regularly. I haven't finished Atlanta, so that's why that season isn't on there. But I've heard it's a phenomenal season.
Isn't it the final season?
I think so. I'm about halfway through with it, and I just for some reason I stopped watching and I haven't gotten back to it. There's supposed to be like a fake documentary of the Goofy movie.
Okay,
nice.
There you go.
And that might not be the weirdest thing because there's been some weird episodes before that.
Jody, what we got?
One of the best things I've seen this year is also one of the newest things I've seen this year, which is the Netflix anthology series from Del Toro, The Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh, I need to watch that.
It's very good. I after watching it, it really the structure of all the stories are very, very tight. Even though they get different writers for different episodes, and there are some crossover there. Really reminds me of, and I'm like digging deep here, Night Gallery. I don't know if you ever watched any of that.
I'm vaguely I've heard of
Rod
that.
Sterling's not Twilight Zone show that was just horror anthology. Episodic horror anthology stuff or whatever. I really love anthologies, especially when they're done well, and all these episodes are between 45 minutes and an hour, typically depending on the story. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed that, and I can't really give it any higher praise. Netflix doesn't have much horror on it, original or otherwise. There are some other really great horror films on there, such as Ritual.
His House is great.
I haven't seen His House yet.
Watch it. It's really good.
Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight, which is a
I've heard of that. I need to watch that one too.
That one's really good. That one is about kids going to a camp in the woods for cell phone and technology addiction, and so they kind of take out the whole like problem you have with modern films with like people having cell phones. Not that you have a connection in the woods anyway, but they take that whole entire thing out of the equation. So that's really well done. So, but yeah, I'm definitely giving it Cabinet of Curiosities.
Guillermo del Toro is really firing on all cylinders this year because his version of Pinocchio came out, and I've heard really good things about it.
It just dropped. I haven't watched it yet.
It's one of the things I'm probably gonna watch tomorrow.
I still haven't watched Wednesday yet. I
haven't watched Wednesday. I'm really behind on stuff.
It's all right, honestly.
I've heard mixed things about it. I've heard people who really like it and people who don't like it.
Bianca really loves it, though.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next award is a sponsored award, ladies and gentlemen. This is our non-kayfabe wrestling storyline of the year, sponsored by Whiskey and Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And that's enough of that. So there we go. But it is, okay, so our nominees are Sasha Banks and Naomi walk out of the WWE.
Okay.
Cody Rhodes returns to the WWE.
Okay.
That's a big one.
Okay.
Vince McMahon steps down from the WWE.
For now.
And brawl out. And the winner of the award is
Bray Wyatt.
Vince McMahon steps down from the WWE.
Hell yeah.
For now.
As if it's only a vacation, that man didn't take a vacation for 30, 40 years. Holy shit. But as it stands right now, Vince McMahon, amid scandalous sexual misconduct allegations from his own company. Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, they're just allegations.
Right now, they're allegations.
But amongst that, steps down, and in walks in Triple H as creative and Stephanie McMahon as the CEO alongside Nick Khan, producing what in my opinion, has been the revitalization of the WWE product after years of stagnation.
Yeah. Let's hope that goodwill continues.
We will see. Again, they're continuing developments of that. Honorable mention, Mandy Rose most likely is fired from the WWE.
Maybe.
And Matt Riddle apparently does drugs a lot.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
And they don't flag you for pot anymore.
Yeah.
At the company,
okay.
so it's not weed.
Oh wow, then that's surprising because
that's
like
the scary one there.
Because Matt Riddle likes him some weed.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, Matt Riddle is weed.
Yes, basically.
Yeah, there you go. But as far as explosive, ooh, wow, like Brawl Out probably has like a little bit more to it. But again, 40 years, the federal government, Ted Turner, overdoing steroids. None of that could kill Vince McMahon. Finally killed Vince McMahon. Chasing Strange.
Yeah.
The most interesting things that happened in wrestling this year did not happen on television.
No,
yeah, this is true.
This is very true, which I think one of the reasons why the ratings are down across the board. There you go. But that's my, again, well, not mine, but the podcast non-kayfabe wrestling storyline of the year, powered by Whiskey and Wrestling. Okay, that's enough of that. All right, Ethan, go for it.
I think I got one last good one out of me.
Okay.
I'd like to call this the best omnibus theater experience.
Ooh. Oh, okay. There we go.
Sponsored by us.
Sponsored by there you go.
So this is pretty much my experience with watching movies I have never thought about watching before. We watched Psycho, we watched The Warriors, we watched Mandy, Casablanca, and this award is something that I would never see myself watching in its entirety ever.
Okay.
Unless I was forced to watch it in our last episode.
Yes, we hooked your eyes up like in Clockwork Orange.
So,
another movie you need to watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the award is going to go to Casablanca.
There we go.
There we go.
It is a movie I would never imagine watching in my entire lifetime. Absolutely comical, absolutely amazing. Like what Jay says, holds up to the times.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Doesn't overstay its welcome. Yeah.
I'm glad of that. I'm glad.
Good
Like
job.
you said, that was the one concern I had. It's like, okay, we're making this boy watch a movie. Let's hope he likes it.
Yeah.
Because I will say this, like real talk, the one thing I don't ever want to do in anybody else's life is waste their time. Like it's just the one thing. Like if you didn't like your time, that's one thing. But if you felt like you could have literally been doing anything else, like you had no feeling toward it whatsoever, yeah. So I'm very grateful for that, sir. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That would be a good maybe New Year's resolution for you, is to watch
watch more movies.
Watch some of these movies
once a month.
Some of these movies on the top 5, and
that's
even if you just watch the movies that are on your top 5, that's still a really good list.
That's
so
absolutely, yeah. There you go, Brady. Hit us with another one.
All right, we're gonna do best movie, not movie theater experience. Best movie. I didn't watch. I kind of slowed down towards the end of the year with watching movies in the theater. But there were some good ones out there. The Northman is great. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is really good.
Phenomenal.
But they really couldn't hold up to Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is a chaotic movie, but with so much heart. Like it does the multiverse right. Like, we see all of these movies and TV shows and everything bringing in the multiverse and doing all of this stuff with that. This does it right. It tells a personal story. Michelle Yeoh, like, she is phenomenal in this. Ki Hee Kwan, I'm glad that like this has basically like restarted his career where he basically left because Hollywood, because he was only getting like stereotypical roles, but this has proven that like he's actually like really good and has range, because there's so many different, because everybody in this movie has to have so much range because there's like so many different versions of these people. But like it is like so emotionally effective at the towards the end there. It's like it is the best movie that I've seen this year, and it's really not that close, even though there were some phenomenal movies that I watched this year. X is another one. That one was really, really good for horror. But I would say definitely, if you get a chance, check Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's a movie with a lot of heart, but it's also like super batshit. If you want to see a dude beat the shit out of people with a fanny pack, this is it. If you want to cry over rocks on a cliffside, this is it. If you if you want to see somebody fight with a dildo shaped award up their butt, watch this movie.
Is it possibly an Omni Award?
Isn't a dildo shaped award just a dildo?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Come on.
But if Chekhov's dildo, because you see it earlier in the movie, and you're like, oh, that looks like a dildo.
There's a payoff.
That looks like a butt plug, and it gets used as a butt plug. So yeah, check out Everything Everywhere All at Once. Is a phenomenal movie, and I really hope it gets a lot of nominations. I think it got a lot of nominations at the Golden Globes, but the Golden Globes are like, compared to other ones, they are really shit.
Mm-hmm.
Patty Harrington did not get a nomination for playing Viserys. Is it Viserys Targaryen? Is Patty Harrington or from House of the Dragon? Patty. It's played Viserys. Not Viserys. Yeah, he did. Patty Constantine. Patty Constantine, thank you.
Constantine, I think.
Yeah, he didn't get nominated, and so the Golden Globes are shit.
Oh yeah,
Golden Globes are shit. That's why we're the only. That's why I've only seen the headlines, because I'm not giving the Golden Globes that much effort, because they are really, really shit. And the organization that runs them is really bad.
Available for watch on Showtime and Paramount Plus.
Yeah, so check that out. It's a really, really good movie. It's not confusing. Like, they lay out the rules of everything, and they do break the rules, but it's really, really good.
So while everybody was doing their last nominations and awards, made a fatal error in missing something. So I'm redacting the Cabinet of Curiosities and replacing it with Sandman.
Oh yeah.
We're just
Sorry,
That's
Del
a
Toro.
Steve Harvey moment.
I'm taking your
Wait a minute,
award
hold on.
away.
What is this button? There
and
we go.
Giving it to Sandman. That show, fucking phenomenal. So my favorite, real quick, my favorite YouTubers that I've either discovered this year or started a new series on their own channel. Chad Tronic. I don't know if you're familiar with Chad Tronic, but he finally found his lane, and it's cursed commercials, and it's fucking great. He even has a puppet mummy called Raps. It's hilarious. Check that shit out. Stitched Together Productions, starring Andy, the maniacal cinephile. I just showed you a couple of clips from his stuff. He has a couple shows. One of his best ones is Boots to Reboots, where either it's good or it gets to boot. Pretty good stuff. Every channel that's made decent quality backrooms videos, I'd like to give him an award to.
Shout out to Kane Pixels
and a couple of others. That stuff is pretty good. And Wendigoon. Wendigoon does some fantastic iceberg videos and some other things. So
he's currently filming a movie that was basically the money was put together, crowdfunded by the people for his channel.
Nice.
It is based off of the Stalker series.
Okay.
So I'm very happy about this. His latest video is them touring the it's a no longer in use nuclear facility that they're recording in, and they do a complete walkthrough of it. So it's pretty cool.
And Cold Ones. I'd like to give another shout out to Cold Ones. Those guys are fucking great.
Really quick, Sandman got my "That son of a bitch, you actually did it" award.
There you go. That's a good
because it is fucking amazing that show got made, and it's actually
and
good.
it's really good. Yeah,
It's not perfect,
No.
but it's really good.
it's as close as we're gonna get to
And
a good
this,
live action Sandman.
for the longest time, was said to be unfilmable.
right.
Yeah.
So
They proved it. There you go.
Yeah.
So the final award of the year, maybe not the most important, but the final one is my Game of the Year award. So this goes for both analog and digital. So it's video games and board games and RPGs and the what have you.
okay.
My nominations for this year are Return to Dark Tower,
Okay.
Blood on the Clock Tower.
Mm-hmm.
Already Tower is doing that. We got Blades in the Dark.
Mm-hmm.
We have XCOM 2.
Oh, okay.
And the winner is Blood on the Clock Tower. It is.
I figured that.
It has been a wait, but it has been a wait worth going through, because that game has been fun playing, has been fun watching, has been fun running. It is, to me, as I think Efka put it, it is one of the best refinements of the genre of social deduction.
Yeah.
It is. Everyone's in the game until the very end. Everyone can contribute into the very end if you keep that interest up with it. The amount of work you can to just make everything changeable in that game is fantastic. Pandemonium Institute, I give the highest regard to in that, because every one of those other games has had some significant impact for me this year. Like Return to Dark Tower, I thought was a fantastic use of app gaming. I think it's the best use of app gaming that I've ever had.
It's the best one I've
ever
ever experienced. Yeah.
Blades in the Dark, it's been good. We played it for y'all on an episode, and we've kept doing it both here and with other groups, which I've been very happy about. And then finally, XCOM 2. I really love turn-based grid strategy. It has me psyched to play the next Fire Emblem game that's coming out next year for Nintendo. So I'm very happy with the state of gaming as far as a lot what I've got in my own court. But the best game I've played this year is Blood on the Clock Tower.
I will say, with those nominations, I'm very surprised Unfathomable is not in there.
Unfathomable is good, but I've played that so many times as Battlestar. And if Battlestar still existed, I would say to people, run out and go buy that. I would still say Unfathomable is a great game, and I believe if you don't have one of those long form social deduction cooperative games in there, I think that's a very good one to go with that. Certainly better than They Live, Assault on Cable 54, but that's an entirely different story on that. But so ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause. Favorite audience award goes to the audience of Travelers on the Omnibus. We thank you very much for being with us throughout this entire year, as we have made it through almost the entire year. And as the bus rounds in the station for the final time this year, gentlemen, let's give our thank yous. Ethan, pick one.
Whiskey and Wrestling is a podcast hosted by Jason Holder and Michael Hill. They drink a whiskey of the week, and they talk about wrestling of the week, whether it's AEW, WWE, or both. Will we ever hear them talk about Impact or Ring of Honor? They slightly talk about Ring of Honor sometimes.
Because it's on AEW.
Yeah.
You kind of have to if you talk about AEW.
There you go.
So yeah, they normally have an episode every Sunday. Give them a listen to Whiskey and Wrestling.
There you go. Brady, hit him up with one.
Fearology is a podcast that is now on Google. It's now on Amazon.
He's going to listen to your
Spotify,
podcast more than this
Spotify.
podcast. There you go.
The potential is there, definitely. Yeah, our good friend and co-host Jody Kite does a podcast about horror because horror is awesome. So check that out if you want to hear his insights into horror.
Newest episode is called Across the Universal, where I talk about the original Universal horror movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Big dive in on the Universal monsters of
That
your.
is a good one.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do Fearology again, but in a different voice. No.
Kevin Shelton and Matthew Lillard
There you go.
from Scooby-Doo and Scream. Dude, Jerry Hubbard.
And 13 Ghosts.
And SLC Punk.
That's
which is a
true.
great movie.
SLC Punk. Gotta go see that. Put that on your list, Ethan. Jared Hubbard and Kevin Shelton have a
Yeah.
show called Silence Your Cell Phones, which is something you should do when you go to the theater. Respect the other theater goers.
Yeah, don't be a cunt.
Don't be a cunt. They do streaming on YouTube, I think once or twice a week or something like that.
Wednesdays. Usually while
right.
we're recording, they're recording.
They're on all the platforms. You should definitely listen to them because they know what they're talking about. So silence your cell phones.
As always, our thanks to Greg Spanier, Cameron Spanier, and the entire crew at Magnar Gaming in Goshen, Mississippi for this wonderful studio space from which we can record our voices and hopefully send it out to you, the wonderful passengers of the Omnibus. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you,
Cameron.
Greg.
Thank you, Greg and Cam.
There we go. Absolutely. Gentlemen, end of the year. Outside of, ladies and gentlemen, this may not be our last recording, but if we do, they'll probably be off season. They'll probably be off the cuff, like, hey, we just wanted to break out the microphones and say some shit. So it'll be very more free form and much shorter. Like maybe approaching a half an hour, even if that during the off season, we're going to hit that up with you, maybe.
Jay is very optimistic.
Yeah. I may just crack this thing open and talk about spray cheese.
Cool.
If you're gonna do it with like Captain Wafers or Ritz. Don't just do saltines. That's no
Better than Captain Spaulding.
There you go. Absolutely. But yeah. But once quickly around the table, resolutions for the coming year. Ethan,
Watch these movies I'm being recommended.
Brady,
I usually don't do resolutions because I'm never going to do them. Actually,
he resolves to do no resolutions.
I am gonna.
No, well, here we go.
There's a couple of authors that I'm going to try and read at least one book from them.
Okay. There you go. So read a little bit more. That works. Jody.
I'm going to try and read all the Chronicles of Narnia. No.
I actually have those.
Amber. Are you talking about Amber?
Yeah.
Chronicles.
I'm going to read the rest of Amber. I'm going to attempt to, at the beginning of the year, start YouTube for Fearology.
Oh.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
So
I've got a camera if you need it.
thank you.
Interesting.
There you go.
We're working on that as I speak.
For me, get more sleep. That is the
Yeah.
goal. I've been counting and I've been averaging about 4 hours of sleep the last 3 months.
Oof.
Yeah, so it's get more sleep, and that one's going to start before the end of the year.
Those are
Yeah.
rookie numbers. You got to pump those up.
Absolutely. There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the final time this year and for season 1, my name is James McCarthy.
My name is Ethan Skinner.
Oh, I'm Brady Davis.
I'm Jody Kite.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this wonderful year. Hope to see you again in the coming year. Good night and goodbye.